Deep breaths, my beautiful people. It is officially fight week. One of the biggest fights of all time. The pride of Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. The Mexican legend. The greatest Mexican of all time. When you talk about this boxing game, the king, Saul Canelo Alvarez, going up against the pride of Omaha, Nebraska. The boxing wizard, one of the most dynamic fighters my eyes ever saw. Actually, the most dynamic fighter my eyes ever saw, Terence Crawford. Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally here, and this is the official fight breakdown of this colossal once-in-a-lifetime fight. Let's get into it. Now, in this breakdown, I'm going to break down Canelo Alvarez's game, what he needs to do to win this fight, and same thing goes for Bud, and I'm going to talk about both men's weaknesses and how they can both capitalize on one another's weaknesses. Let's get into it. Who do you want to start with? Let's start with Canelo Alvarez, the A side, the face of boxing, the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world. Now, I have never watched this much tape in my life. In the past 3 to 4 weeks, I have literally watched every single Canelo fight available on YouTube and every single Bud fight available on YouTube. And let me tell you this, Canelo Alvarez's game changed definitely ever since he moved up to 168, but especially in the last couple of years now. Canelo Alvarez, what can you say about the man? He is absolutely unbelievable. When you talk about his defense, the way that he rolls with shots, his shot selection, his calmness and composure under the fire. And that is his greatest asset, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people talk about Canelo's power, Canelo's IQ, Canelo's defense, but the reason why he got incredible IQ inside the ring, the reason why his defense is incredible, and the reason why he's able to execute in the ring like no one else is because of his calmness and composure under the fire. When you are this calm, when you are as calm as Canelo in a fight, your IQ automatically increases. Your defense automatically increases because you see all the shots coming because of your calmness. And even you pick your shots better, and that is why I just said that his shot selection is absolutely incredible. Now, if you actually look at Canelo Alvarez's game, the man was at 160, he was way quicker than what he is at 168. He was way lighter on his feet. Go back and watch that first Gennady fight. Go back and even watch the second Gennady fight. In the first Gennady fight, he purely relied on boxing off the back foot for the most part. But in that second fight, he mixed things up. He fought on the front foot most of the fight, but also on the back foot in spots. And I believe that was the best Canelo Alvarez ever. The Canelo Alvarez who was light on his feet. But at 168, that Canelo Alvarez came back. When he fought Billy Joe Saunders, a southpaw. And let me tell you about that fight, because I believe it's going to play dividends when you compare his fight versus Billy Joe and this fight versus Terence Crawford. Now, I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, Bud Crawford will fight in the southpaw stance in this fight. Why? Because Bud Crawford, the reason why he loves fighting in the southpaw stance more than the orthodox stance, especially lately, is because his lead hand, his right hand, is his power hand. And when he switches to southpaw, he likes to discipline you with that devastating jab, with that stab to the body, with that check right hook. He likes to discipline all his opponents with that devastating and violent slingshot of a check hook. Now, Canelo Alvarez. Let me tell you a secret about Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez likes to do this when he fights southpaws. Now, if you actually watch all of Canelo's fights versus orthodox fighters and versus southpaws, you can tell that he finds it awkward to let his hands go versus southpaws. But that doesn't mean that he can't beat all of them. That doesn't mean that he can't find success against all of them. But it takes him more time to adjust. And let me tell you about this. If you go back into my old videos, I posted a few videos back in 2021, but then I stopped posting because of uni and stuff. But now that I finished everything and I'm back home, I am on fire. I'm posting every day. But if you go back to my old videos, I made a specific prediction of how the Billy Joe fight will unfold, and I was on the money. And let me tell you, I actually predicted the round, and I predicted the exact same shot, the exact same sequence that broke Billy Joe's face. And let me tell you about it. Canelo Alvarez, when he fights southpaws, let me tell you his game plan versus Bud Crawford. First of all, he needs to start fast. And when I say that he needs to start fast, I don't mean that he needs to let his hands go early. No, I mean that he needs to establish his presence, take the center of the ring, and start feinting. Versus Billy Joe, my prediction back then will be very similar to my prediction here. What did he do in that fight? He started early, took the center, and started pressing Billy Joe and started feinting. Canelo is an unbelievable feinter. He feints with his eyes, with his lead hand, with his backhand, with his hips, with his feet. Canelo, when he keeps on feinting you, your alarm system, your nervous system will become like this. You will be automatically reacting, which will drain you early on. And let me tell you this trick that he does versus southpaws. And I believe this will be his winning technique for this fight. Canelo, when you talk about fighting southpaws, there is a blind spot, beautiful people. So this is the orthodox stance, but this is the southpaw stance. The southpaw, his blind spot is in the right side, is over here. This is the southpaw stance. Now, what Canelo Alvarez likes to do versus southpaws, he likes to feint, and feint with his lead hand, feinting to the head, feinting to the head, feinting to the head, feinting to the head, landing to the body, feinting to the body, feinting to the body, feinting to the head, going up again, going again to the body, and then feinting and feinting and feinting, and then going up top. And by doing that, you are automatically reacting to him. So what do? When you're a southpaw, you start dipping because he keeps on punishing you with him being an orthodox fighter, going up against a southpaw. He keeps on punishing this side from his left hand, so you automatically, as a southpaw, start to dip into the other side. And when you start dipping to the other side, what opens up? His violent uppercut. And this is exactly what I said before the Billy Joe fight. I said that Canelo will keep on feinting him, keep on punishing him with the left hook to the body, left hook to the head. And once Billy Joe starts to feel the power and the pressure, he will start dipping to the other side to avoid the power shots from Canelo's left side. But that is a trap from Canelo. He wants you to dip to the other side. Why? Because then you will be timed perfectly for that violent and devastating uppercut. And I actually predicted that Canelo was going to knock out Billy Joe with a right uppercut in the 8th round. And what do you know, beautiful people? What do you know? He knocked him out with the right uppercut, with Billy Joe dipping into it in the 8th round. Now, let me tell you about this fight. Bud Crawford is way better than Billy Joe. Actually, levels. And when I say levels, I mean levels. I don't mean he's better in a few things. I mean, when you talk about the entire game, when you talk about the discipline outside of the ring, when you talk about the IQ, when you talk about the power, when you talk about the footwork, everything and anything you can think of, Crawford is better than Billy Joe. Now, and also, what makes Billy Joe extremely different than Bud Crawford, even though both men, I believe, will fight Canelo. Billy Joe already fought Canelo in the southpaw stance, and I believe that Bud will fight Canelo in the southpaw stance. But 65%, actually 55% of Billy Joe's punches are jabs. And when you talk about Billy Joe's jab, Billy Joe doesn't have a power jab. He has a flicking jab. The same jab that Tyson Fury throws when he's in the southpaw stance. It's almost like a get away from me jab. This is what Canelo Alvarez was looking to counter versus Billy Joe. But in this fight, it's a different game. Why? Because Crawford got a power jab. And not only does Crawford got a violent power jab, but he got a longer jab than Billy Joe, but at the same time, Crawford's jab is different. Why? Because he uses it to stab to the body. And let me just continue with Canelo before I go to Bud. So when you talk about Canelo's game, this is the first trick that he needs to do versus Terence Crawford. Second thing is this. He needs to press Bud up against the ropes. But when he presses Bud against the ropes, he needs to stay tight and he needs to stay disciplined and alert. Why? It's because Bud loves to counter you when he's up against the ropes with his violent uppercuts, especially with his lead right uppercut. Canelo, like we said, he needs to feint, start early, establish his presence and dominance early. Oh my God. I just keep on, like, I'm getting anxious thinking about the fight. My goodness, what a great... Please, join me, beautiful people, on my live stream for this beautiful fight. Historic fight. Now, Canelo Alvarez, he got many ways and many paths to victory, and he can definitely win this fight. But you know who also can win this fight? Terence Crawford, and let me tell you about him. There's something about Crawford, you know, when this fight got announced, I automatically was like, man, Canelo's gonna beat Bud 100% by unanimous decision. This is an easy pick. But the more I watched Bud, the more my appreciation started to grow when it comes to his game. Canelo Alvarez is the greatest pressure / counter attacker in boxing history. But Bud Crawford, greatest pressure fighter / counter attacker my eyes ever saw. But Bud is the most dynamic fighter my eyes ever saw too. Now let me tell you about Bud Crawford. What does he need to do to win this fight? First of all, Bud Crawford, there is a battle outside of the ring when you fight Canelo. You gotta truly believe in your heart of hearts that you can win this fight. Charlo didn't believe that he can win. Berlanga definitely didn't believe it. Munguia believed it. Munguia believed it, and that is why he had the most success out of all the last 5 opponents of Canelo. John Wilder didn't truly believe it. Gennady didn't believe it in that third fight. Bivol believed it, but Bivol got the job done also. Now, Crawford truly believes, he doesn't have a single doubt in his mind that he can win this fight, and that alone is half of the battle. Now, let's talk about the battle inside of the ring. But Crawford, if he wants to win this fight, southpaw stance, like I said, it is almost too perfect for him to fight in the southpaw stance. So I don't believe for 1 second, I mean, yes, he might switch here and there, but specifically for Canelo's style, Bud will fight in the southpaw stance. And what does Bud need to do? Stab to the body. This will be his key to victory. Stabbing Canelo to the body with that violent step-in right southpaw jab. And after he establishes his range from his stab to the body with the jab, a lot of shots will come afterwards, and I'm going to tell you about them. Now, Bud Crawford, another weapon that he does extremely well and he needs to do for this fight is the 2-1. A lot of times, Canelo will go to the body. A lot of times, Bud's opponents go to the body and Canelo will go to the body. But you know how you counter Bud? How you counter Canelo to the body? Is by throwing that 2-1. And let me tell you about Bud Crawford. He throws his punches like slingshots. They're so violent and cerebral and hurtful and venomous. And when you talk about Canelo Alvarez, the problem for Bud is that Canelo is extremely tight when you talk about his high guard, when you talk about his shot selection. But after the 5th or 6th round, Canelo definitely slows down. Why? I'll tell you why. It's because Canelo, as he's going up in weights, he's putting more into his shot swipe. Is because he wants to gain respect. And you can't blame him. That's what you need to do when you go up in weight classes. Now, I watched the Munguia fight probably 15 times. And Canelo in the first 6 rounds was different than the Canelo in the last 6 rounds. He was actually a completely different fighter. Canelo early on is so violent, is so devastating, and let me tell you, he carries his power late. But because he puts so much into his shots, and because his head movement is so on point, everything takes energy, beautiful people. Canelo's defense takes energy. Canelo's unbelievable violent offense takes energy. But versus Bud, like I'm hoping for his sake that he won't load up on many shots. One, because Bud is smaller and faster. So Canelo doesn't need to gain his respect by putting his everything into every single shot like he did versus Bivol. I mean, versus Bivol, after that third round, Canelo was huffing and puffing in the corner. And that was very unfortunate, to be honest. But Bud Crawford, he can win this fight on the front foot and on the back foot. And let me tell you, I promise you, Bud Crawford will fight Canelo. He's not going to be running. He never ran from anyone, and he's definitely not going to start running at 37, 38 years old, let me tell you. This is going to be an unbelievable fight. Bud Crawford, like I said, that stab to the body, that 2-1, especially when Canelo goes low. When Canelo dips, he's going to be open for that 2-1, just like Errol Spence. And also, Bud Crawford, when Canelo backs him up against the ropes, Bud Crawford will shell in the high guard and sneak in that violent lead uppercut. And Canelo gotta be careful, but Canelo's defense is unbelievable. And the way that he rolls with shots, and that is why he's so calm. How can he roll with all the shots? It's because he's so calm and composed under the fire. But Bud is a different animal. Yes, he's smaller. Yes, he's older. But let me tell you, I promise you, Bud Crawford is an unbelievable fighter. One of the most dynamic fighter my eyes ever saw. Another thing that Bud Crawford can do. Now, Bud Crawford, when he's in the southpaw stance, he disciplines you with that check hook and with that violent jab and with the lead uppercut. But you start wanting to get away from his lead hand, which means you get lined up for his backhand and he clocks you with that backhand. So pick your poison with Bud. The man walking him down is like walking into a minefield, mine trap. Just like in the war zone. So that's another thing that Bud does well. But let me tell you this. Banging Bud's arms will not work in this fight. Why? Because Bud, one of his greatest attributes is catching and shooting. Whenever Bud is in the high guard, he's always prepared to shoot back. And that is why a lot of times he shells up, not just because he wants to stay defensively responsible, but because he wants to counter you. Bud is the greatest body counter attacker my eyes ever saw also. The way that he automatically just shells up in the high guard, and the moment you touch him here or here, he automatically shoots back to the body more times than to the head. And let me tell you, when you talk about body punching, Bud is more violent than Canelo. But Canelo got that left hook to the body. But Bud got those uppercuts to the body. But Canelo is more powerful. But Bud is sneakier and sharper. So pick your poison with both men. Listen, this is going to be an unbelievable fight. I'm going to drop my prediction tomorrow. I actually wanted to film it today, but I have no idea who's going to win this fight until now. That is how you know that this fight is unbelievable. I gotta go watch a couple more fights, but even though I'm going to give you a prediction tomorrow, I'm just going to give you a prediction like this, just because you want to hear it, just because I know that you beautiful people love a prediction. So I'm going to give it to you, even though I have absolutely zero confidence in whatever pick I make. Why? It's because this is an unbelievable 50-50 fight. Both men can win this fight. I guarantee you, if you put both men in the ring 20 times, it is impossible for Bud to win 20 times and for Canelo to win 20 times. Listen, I'm telling you, history will remember this fight. What else did we forget when breaking down this fight? I believe we covered pretty much most of... I'm going to drop a few more videos in the next couple of days, giving you the keys to victory for both men. And when you talk about the weaknesses, Canelo's gas tank is his biggest weakness. And we talk about Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford's heart is his biggest weakness. Bud Crawford's dog and mindset and refusing to lose might actually get him into trouble in this fight. Why? It's because every time you land a clean shot on Bud, he just wants to get it back. Why? It's because the man is an absolute dog. But, like I said, that might actually get him into trouble. So I hope for his sake that he fights a extremely smart and intelligent fight, but it's much easier said than done. Why? It's because he's going up against an absolute marauder in Canelo Alvarez. Canelo will keep on walking him down and he will take his time with him. But Bud needs to earn his respect early in this fight, and I believe he will do that. I believe that Canelo will respect Bud, but I also believe that Bud will respect Canelo. And that is why a firefight might break out a bit later than you think, but one big shot early can change the entire trajectory, not just of the fight, but of both men's careers and legacies. Even though I believe that win, lose or draw, no matter who wins, loses, or if the fight ends in a draw, both men will forever be legends in my eyes, and both men, you will never hear me after this fight. Whoever loses, I'm going to come here and I'm going to give the loser all the respect in the world, and I'm going to give the winner all the credit in the world. I'm not going to say if Canelo wins that Bud was small, and I'm not going to say if Bud wins that Canelo was washed. And same thing goes for both. If Canelo wins, I'm going to give him all the credit. I'm going to give Bud all the respect. If Bud wins, I'm going to give Bud all the credit, and I'm going to give Canelo all the respect in the world. Why? It is not easy, beautiful people. It is not easy to reach this point. When you talk about two icons, two legends, two all-time greats, fighting for every single belt in boxing, football stadium, Allegiant Stadium, my God. And one of you beautiful people actually told me this. Both men's weaknesses and flaws will be exposed in this fight, and one might pay severely, and that is why it is called a dangerous chess match. And I cannot agree more. What an unbelievable fight. My goodness. Canelo Alvarez, the pride of Guadalajara, Mexico, the two-time undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, 4-division champion, charismatic enigma, the face of boxing, going up against the most dynamic fighter my eyes ever saw, the hero of his people in Omaha, Nebraska, the greatest athlete to ever come out of Omaha, Nebraska, the former undisputed, two-time undisputed champion of the world, looking to become 3-time undisputed. Listen, win, lose or draw for both men, they are two of the greatest fighters of all time. But the winner, you might as well put him up there. Put him up there with the GOATs. In my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, both men are with the GOATs when you talk about their skills, their charisma inside the ring, anything and everything you can think of. But for the public and the majority of people, whoever wins this fight, listen, crown him, serenade him, love him and respect him, and whoever loses, appreciate him, uplift him, and give him all the respect in the world. What an unbelievable fight. Bring on Saturday, and don't forget to tune in to my live stream.